Now, if you're a beginner or somebody who's never really looked at or learned wire wrapping or wire weaving, you might be wondering yourself, how long does it really take to learn this craft? And how long does it take for you to become proficient and feel comfortable enough to share and even sell your pieces? Well, I hope to give you some clarity on that topic in this video. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and let's go ahead and jump in. Now, you've probably discovered that wire wrapping and wire weaving is not something that you can master necessarily overnight. It takes a lot of time and practice to really start creating pieces that you feel comfortable enough to share, pieces that are sturdy and are not falling apart. From understanding the feel of the wire and how to manipulate it to wrapping your brain around new and more complicated weave patterns, it's a lot to learn. So don't be discouraged if you're not creating those beautiful pieces right out the gate. I mean, I certainly didn't. Just take a look at some of my early pieces. Now, there's a couple ways that you can really approach wire weaving and wire wrapping. And the first one is to make, while the other one is focusing more on tutorial learning. So the tutorials, of course, are going to cover a broader range of technique, which can be really challenging if you are just starting out. However, if you're doing the technique, which is just focusing, like for example, building a frame for a pendant. Okay, I'm going to focus on building a frame and then go from there to building the decorative components or maybe the bail. If you start focusing on step by step, it might actually decrease the amount of time you need to learn versus doing tutorials. But it really just depends on you, because sometimes, like for me, I really liked doing it the tutorial method. It might have taken a little longer, but you have a finished piece at the end that you can enjoy or share. And it kind of gives you a sense of completion and satisfaction in knowing that you were able to complete a piece. So I understand doing it both ways, but maybe if you do, for example, one tutorial and you do it and then you write down maybe an idea like, I really struggled with this technique. So then focus on that technique or that weave pattern or that stone setting until you get it right. And then as time goes on, you can create those pieces again, and you'll be more satisfied with the quality of your work because you spent time focusing on one technique versus trying to do the entire tutorial over and over again. And it's going to save you a lot on materials too. Now, I did put in my little document over here like an idea as far as like time frames. So if you spent 30 minutes a week or 30 minutes a day, how quickly would you develop that skill? That if you were spending anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour a day working on your weaving technique, it will definitely improve within a couple weeks. You'll be more satisfied with it, especially if you're focusing on the proficiency in weaving and just developing that muscle memory. I do have a video, I'll go ahead and link it up here, that'll explain more about the direct method that I use as far as guiding the wire and then adding tension. That helps a lot. But you have to remember that it's like learning a new language. I mean, it's completely foreign to your hands, it's foreign to your mind maybe. So give yourself lots of time. And it might be probably a couple months at minimum before you start creating pieces that you're actually really proud to share and are going to hold up to everyday wear. That's just the reality of how it is, especially if you've had no experience in the past. Now, this is where I'm going to kind of go ahead and share my background a little bit, because I've had a lot of people ask me in the past how long I've been creating jewelry. They're very surprised to hear that I've only been wire weaving since about 2019, 2020 is about when I started. It was about the end of 2019 when my first son was born. And a lot of people are surprised at some of my early works because I hadn't been weaving very long. But the thing is that I had an advantage over some people who had never started before. Because at the age of 13, my mom bought me a jewelry making kit and I was hooked on it for quite a while. And though I didn't do any significant wire wraps or wire weaving, I at least was familiar with the feel of wire and how to manipulate it, because I've been making simple jewelry pieces since then. Though it wasn't every day, it wasn't every week or every month, it was very sporadic, but I still had that knowledge of how to work with wire. And the other thing too is that I had also really fallen in love with knitting, and knitting is very pattern focused. So it's very easy for my mind to recognize weave patterns and how to do them, because I had already had some experience with a different craft that's similar in a way as far as training your mind to recognize pattern. The only thing I really had to learn is the muscle memory and how much tension I needed to apply as I was weaving. So it only took me a couple weeks to really develop my weaves and start creating decent looking pieces. And that's why I really advocate not comparing yourself to other people, because there's other people out there who have done those things, maybe experimented with wire before in different mediums. Maybe they have more experience in knitting or sewing or something that has given, or embroidery, that has given them some kind of leg up as far as learning a lot of this. So you can't really compare yourself to somebody else. Like somebody who's been creating for a couple weeks, like let's say you have two people who have been creating for a couple weeks. One has more knowledge of knitting and other crafts, where this person may have no knowledge of any craft. This is their first. That person's going to develop a little slower than the person that has already spent time working on different crafts, just because of the nature of learning and having pattern recognition and learning tension and those things. And I guess my thoughts on the whole thing is, don't worry about how fast it takes or how quickly you can learn this craft. It's going to be different for everyone. The truth is that we all have our beginner pieces that we can look back on and kind of cringe at. And though it may take less time for some than others, the reality is that consistency really is key. Because if you are willing to stick with it, you're going to get a lot farther than somebody who decides after a couple weeks they don't want to do it anymore because it's too hard, or their pieces don't look like somebody else who's been doing it for multiple years. And just remember that every piece you make, you're going to look at it and you're going to see the imperfections, but just know that those imperfections, those mistakes that you make, are tools in which you can learn from so that your next piece can be better. There's an amazing saying that I kind of hold to, which is just make the next one 1% better. For me, it may be these videos and tutorials, but for you, it could be your next piece. Your next piece is going to be 1% better than the one that you made before it. Either maybe the weave pattern is going to be neater, the setting is going to be more even, the stones are not going to move. Whatever goal you're setting for yourself, being consistent is really key. And the other thing that I really like to focus on, I used to hear this in band a lot when I was a kid, which was practice makes perfect. But I've come to learn that that's not really the case. Practice does not make perfect, it makes proficient. Because like I said, you're always going to see those mistakes, you're going to always see those imperfections, and they're going to nag you. But you are becoming more and more proficient the more you practice. And the more proficient you become, the less other people are going to notice your mistakes. They're going to look at it and they're just going to see the beautiful work of art that it is that you made with your hands. So don't be worrying so much about perfection. Just be really proud of yourself that you're sticking to it and that you are making it through each of your pieces and creating beautiful works of art that you can share with the world. So the reality is, if you're just starting out, give yourself at least a couple months. Experiment, try new things, focus on specific techniques that you're really struggling with. Even just play with wire. If you are completely new, never touched wire before, just play with it. Create swirls, create patterns and things of that nature. And I have a video that focuses on those beginner things. I'll link it right here for you. And I also do have a free ebook for you. It's called Weave with Wire. It focuses on the beginner steps. It helps introduce you to terminology and everything that's used in this craft, and really helps you to get a leg up a little bit on others who have not found that information. I try to compile it in all in one place just for you. If you want to take it to the next level, I do have a beginner course, and I've left all those links in the description for you to find. So wherever you're at in your journey, just know you can do it. Just stick to it. If you need encouragement, you're welcome to talk to the community here on YouTube or on my Facebook group. And until next time, you guys, happy weaving.